Welcome back to SwitchCorner. My name is Alex and today we're going to be taking a look at my favourite deals across the eShops covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. Now this one, as always, any price goes, so if you're looking for the more budget side of things, check out Thursday's edition where I keep everything sub $10 or your local currency. Now with that though, as always, I do have two winners to announce for two $10 eShop gift cards and two more to give away. All you need to do, drop a comment down below and the winners, they'll be announced in next week's video. This week though, like 18 games for you today. It's a huge week, so hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and let's get started. So first up today then, 9 Monkeys of Shaolin, and this one it's for you beat 'em up fans. Think a Shaolin take on the Streets of Rage formula and you very much get the idea. Now at launch I did pick it up myself. I love the genre, but I was always a little bit funny about the price point. Now though, with 40% off, I think it's a whole lot more fair, as it's promising more than 25 levels, local 2-player, and then a pretty deep perk system as you basically develop your character. Genre fans, I really do think it's for sure worth a look. Retro race fans, if you're done with Horizon Chase Turbo, then Hotshot Racing comes recommended. I had a blast with this one, both solo and online, but you will need to pick it up with friends. There's not much of an online community behind this one. Arcade though, racing through and through, it has a whole lot of rubber banding with your opponents, but for me it just all kind of added to the excitement, and they are supporting it a whole lot as well. Most recently there was a free update in the Big Boss bundle. It added a new mode and 4 new tracks, a new all-time low though with 40% off. Alright, so the most expensive game on today's list, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, and while it for sure wasn't the Kingdom Hearts game the majority of us, wanted, it is still a fun trip down memory lane for fans of the series in like rhythm game form. A tiny amount then of new game content at the end of things to wrap it up, but expect here all the classic like series and Disney characters, and then a creative take on the rhythm genre as it turns things into almost think rhythm battles. 33% off here, it marks a new all-time low, and you can find a review for this one on the channel. I'll link it in the pinned comment down below. Shooter fans now, a classic of the Shinra Ikaruga is back, matching the all-time low with 33% off, and while I wouldn't consider this a particularly rare discount, it still doesn't detract from the fact it's one of the best vertical shmups ever made. The twist with this one, you can actually switch between 2 different energy polarities, black and white. Bullets of the same colour, they can be absorbed, adding that extra level of strategy. I'll keep this simple though, like it's an absolute masterpiece. A personal favourite now, Spiritfarer. It was high on my list of best Switch games for 2020. It's just a beautifully crafted experience. Taking on the role here of the ferrymaster, you are new to the job. You must comfort those in the afterlife while building up a ship, making friends, and just exploring this unique world as you kind of take them to their end destination. It's a relaxing time for sure, and while many found an escape in Animal Crossing in 2020, because 2020 was an absolute disaster, this was my personal escape of that year. 25% off here, it matches the all-time low. Spinch is back on sale then. This is for fans of Super Meat Boy and basically that tough as hell, Twitch platformer idea. I wanted to give it another shout out though. They've just announced this is the most recent I Am 8-bit physical release, and they're actually doing a final release of the exceptional soundtrack as well. While I did have some issues with this game at launch though, a slightly variable frame rate, things they were patched up, and it's just a whole lot of fun honestly, outside of the water levels that is, that kind of slow the pace down. 25% off though, another one matching the all-time low. So before we get to our first winner of the week then, I just want to do a quick self-plug. If you do not mind, I try and put a ton of effort into these videos, but we did launch a SwitchCorner Twitch channel that will feature other consoles in the future most likely, but right now there's not enough Switch on Twitch, so I called in a friend, Corey, who will basically be leading things over there and streaming, I'd guess 3 to 4 times a week, or at least that's the kind of minimum. I will of course though appear occasionally, and I will always be in the chat. 2 reasons though we're doing this. One, I want to share as many new games as possible with you all, especially pre-release. Like this week we will have Persona 5 Strikers. Then 2, I want this to not only mirror the channel but add even more content here on YouTube just to share with you all. So yeah, like if you do have Twitch, we've just hit 150 followers over there and would love it if you could join us if you do have an account. All you need to do, hit that follow button. It is of course completely free. I will link it in the description down below and the pinned comment. And also just a shout out, a thank you to everyone that subscribed after Thursday's video and yeah, jumped into our Friday stream of the new Super Mario 3D World. So our first winner of the week then, it's going to Mick Al, who highlighted Rayman Legends from last week's Deals video. It's just an incredible game, and he also highlighted the incredible music stages. I agree, totally worth the $10, and it's still on sale for another week if anyone is still considering picking it up. It's one of the best 2D platformers on the Switch. Congrats though Mick, drop me an email to claim your code, and then everyone else, of course, there is another code still to come later in the video after a few more games. Alright, so Oddworld New N Tasty, this is a relatively new addition to the Switch library, but it hits a new all-time low with 50% off, and this is just classic Oddworld 2D platforming puzzles, more than a little kind of weird sense of humour. Now it's for sure showing its age, I will say that much, but it's still got its charm for those that grew up around the era, or just know the series in general, you know, creative visuals, sound design, and a world to this day that feels just absolutely unique. Alright, so a couple I want to throw out there now. These expire within 48 hours of this video going live, so I'll try and keep it quick, but the masterful Hades, it returns to the sales. It's the usual deal, 20% off, but it's also one of the biggest games of 2020 and just a great roguelite, so it's always worth a shout out. Then Levelhead, this is more of an underappreciated gem on the Nintendo Switch. Think indie Mario Maker and you get the idea. So 2D platforming, a comprehensive level creator, and just a hell of a dedicated audience. I reviewed it on the channel. In it I did ask how did it compare to Mario Maker, and discussion in the comments for sure ensued. It gets a lot right though. It even has a comprehensive story. You're basically this delivery robot in training, and for this price point, honestly, like thanks to crossplay with PC, there's just thousands of levels out there to explore, and they just keep on coming. You'll easily basically get your money's worth with 30% off. So my pickups of the week then, meaning I can't necessarily, you know, recommend them, never played them myself, but maybe you're going to want to join me for that ride. I'm actually grabbing 2 different games this week. First, I'm going to be grabbing Pine. It's actually an older one now. I always wanted to try, but I never did get around to. Also, from what I understand, it had its fair share of issues right around launch. Switch Up though, they recently covered this one in a patch update video, and it seems things have improved, and it's time for me to now like take the leap with this new all-time low of 60% off. I'm also just always open to an open world action adventure, and in this one, humans, they never did reach the top of the food chain, so it sounds like you're getting like a tribe to settle into and animals to battle. Then we get Taiko no Tatsujin Rhythm Adventure Pack. It's on its first ever sale with 30% off. I have the dedicated rhythm game, absolutely adore it. I have the drum accessory also, I imported that one, and this one just brings together 2 games that are part RPG, part rhythm experience. Meant to actually grab these at launch, never did get around to it though, and that's actually finally paid off, as they are relatively new, or at least it will pay off if they don't, you know, immediately sink into my backlog. If you don't want to pick up though both included games here, you can also get them discounted individually as well, but that will be a lot more expensive if you're buying the 2 together. Alright, so Space Crew, and while it wasn't quite as well received as Bomber Crew, I still enjoyed it, so it's getting a shout out with a new all-time low of 40% off. A strategic survival simulator. This sequel, it just kind of leaves Earth behind and finds its way to space as you build a crew, you face missions, and generally you try to survive galactic warfare. It is not action-packed, this is definitely strategy, but I enjoyed the slower pace this one brought to the table, and I think strategy fans in general will just still find a lot to like, especially of course if you do like your sci-fi. Alright, so our only UK, EU, AU exclusive of the week, Ori and the Blind Forest. It's back on sale, matching its all-time low of 30% off, and honestly, it's worth more than full price, as is the sequel. A stunningly touching story though will hook you, but the Metroidvania gameplay will also keep you coming back as you set out on this adventure through a dying forest just to face evil. Just know with this one it is a bit of a tearjerker too, but it's another one on today's list that I would just absolutely describe as a masterpiece. A new all-time low then dropped for Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, and if you're an RPG fan and you haven't played this already, then please do. Not only is the RPG kind of turn-based gameplay of the highest quality, but what really just elevates this one is the fact the story, the art design, it comes from the geniuses over at Studio Ghibli. Another one with a touching story though, as you basically battle almost think difficult personal circumstances and then more traditional adventure as well. This is just a JRPG done the right way, and I hope we see the sequel join the Switch library in the near future. Alright, so a bit more out there now, but Yuppie Psycho Executive Edition. It's a new release for the console, honestly, and I think it was always, you know, releasing as one of those more obscure titles for a very kind of niche crowd. Hopefully though it did well enough, because it is just so unique. Describing itself as the first job survival horror, it's about as strange as they come, honestly, but the story super unique, where you'll find yourself in this like dystopian 90s working at Sintra Corp. You're basically navigating the floors, and this one I'd say watch a dedicated review first before you do jump in. It's on sale for a good while, so you absolutely have time, but it is a nice 35% off right now. Alright, so before we do get to our second winner of the week then, Buried Stars, an adventure visual novel. I have a love-hate relationship with this genre, but this one is incredible as I keep hunting for those, you know, genuinely like exciting experiences. This was one of them for me that stands alongside games like AI the Somnian Fails. Starting off, you're in this sort of talent show of sorts, then the building collapses, then there's a murder, there's all sorts of stuff going on, and now you must get to the bottom of these events. Of course though, a lot of reading, but also a lot to do with options. This isn't just pages upon text, but you're going to be choosing who you talk to, what you talk about, what social media will you be looking at. I reviewed it, and surprisingly I loved it with a rave review, so 20% off. It might not be a huge discount, but it's worth it, and typically in this genre the discounts, they don't get too deep. Our second winner of the week then, Jason Beach, who called out how underappreciated Immortals Phoenix Rising seems to be. The eShop sale, it did finish on the base game, but I'm sure you can still grab it cheap physical as it just continues to drop. But again, like, I agree, I'm a fan of this one, and I hope we get to see more from the series. Drop me an email though, Jason. And yeah, congrats to both of the winners today. Thanks to all them that did of course enter, and just remember to leave a comment down below for your chance to win in next week's video. With that though, our penultimate game of the week, Peaky Blinders Mastermind. It's based on the TV show set in my hometown of Birmingham in the UK, and this takes the Shelby family and basically throws them into this puzzle adventure storyline. Fans of strategy, you should definitely like this one. It's almost think turn-based, but it's set on this kind of weird timeline experience. You can kind of like rewind time, position yourself, fast forward. Basically, you're finding the optimal path to success. It's a weird one to describe, honestly, and I'll link my review below because I can't quite name another game like it with this spin on the strategy genre. This new all-time low though of 40% off makes it near budget entry. It has a few frame rate issues, and it's a shame with this one it didn't have voice acting to kind of truly bring this world to life, but otherwise I had a fantastic time, and fans of the show, you should have an absolute blast. Our final game of the week then, Jurassic World Evolution. It comes from the team behind the likes of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which is also on sale right now. Here though, we have a park builder set in the Jurassic Park world. You need to find a way to not only keep your guests happy here, but build suitable habitats for your dinosaurs, while of course also breeding new ones. Featuring voice work by the likes of Jeff Goldblum though, it's for sure adding some credibility, and then it throws in all the DLC too. At launch, I liked it. Handheld was really kind of impacted visually, a lot of blur going on, but thanks to a patch it's a whole lot better now, and you could sink just hundreds of hours into this one, facing its challenges, and of course just like free building parks as well. 40% off. Like many of today's games, it's a new all-time low. And that is it, another week down. Will you be adding anything new to your collection, or will you be saving that cash? Remember then, Twitch, we launched it, so if you do go there for your gameplay, maybe if you don't mind, throw us a follow and just help us get things off the ground. Then a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. If you do want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the video description down below. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.